Hello guys, welcome back to the channel, the Manga Man here, and today we're talking about One Piece 1003. Now, a few things to point out with this. I am seeing the rolls come out earlier, but I'm not quite sure exactly what time the translation gets uploaded. So with it being a Friday today, I noticed getting up that it was translated by TCB Scans. But unfortunately I was waiting on a delivery, so that took priority. That being said, for those 73 odd subscribers, and of those subscribers, a percentage that do watch this video, although recently I've been able to just upload this as and when, due to a change of circumstances and kind of starting work again from next week onwards, it will literally be done after work hours. So it'll be 8 p.m. or so evening time UK, and how that translates to the rest of the world, I guess you'll have to use your imagination. Also, as always, these are based on Scanlation translations, so take everything with a pinch of salt, and please support the official release. Without further ado, let's get into this review. So, the chapter 1003. First of all, just to kind of get this out there is no break next week, which means we've only got to wait a week before more One Piece greatness, hypeness, and it really leaves at an exciting point. So I'm actually really looking forward to next week's chapter, being that I've just read this one. So let's kind of do a rundown of the chapter, and then we'll kind of go through things as we go along, to discuss the events and what they can possibly mean. So let's kind of go through the chapter now. So it starts off with essentially a carry on from last chapter. The attack that Luffy threw at Kaido is essentially doing the business, and it knocks Luffy down. Now, knocks Kaido down. What this also unfortunately does is takes Luffy out of Gear 4th mode. Much to the surprise of Kid, and Law essentially informs it, look, that this is a drawback and he won't be able to use Haki for 10 minutes. This is actually a good thing, because what this essentially does is this elongates the fight. Now, with time, a lot of interesting things can happen, and it does kind of begin to show at the end of the chapter that ultimately, like many other reviews have stated, like a Sawyer 7 Mage, for example, that really for Kaido to be taken down, we really need to see what happens with the rest. So this is the All-Stars, this is going to be, the Tobiropo, and everyone else below them. Because ultimately, till they're defeated, I don't necessarily see Kaido going down. It makes no sense. No different than with what happened with Doflamingo. His executives were taken down before before Doflamingo was taken down, and I'd imagine something similar is going to happen with Kaido. So with this 10-minute window now, this is ultimately going to be where we're going to see kind of what's happening on the roof, or what's happening with the executives, and it'll carry on like that. So I like that. What the drawback to this, or the negative you could say to this, is ultimately Luffy hasn't overcome his weakness, and he isn't able to stay in that form for long. It's a double-edged sword when you think about it. So if you think about, you've got X amount of Haki, doesn't matter, we don't know the volume really, or the amount. If you use a standard attack, it'll last for a while. If you use a substantial attack, it'll run out quickly. So at this stage, the more powerful attacks he's using, he's still got the same amount of Haki, or a limited amount of Haki, and it will essentially run out and knock him out of the mode. So what this ultimately means is, although his Haki has grown and he's able to funnel and use techniques to develop stronger forms of Haki, he still needs to do something about the quantity or the volume, or the amount of Haki that he can store or use. And I think that's going to be something that's going to develop over time, and we'll see that in subsequent arcs. Because ultimately, if you think about it purely from the storytelling point of view, it's no different than his fight with Doflamingo, where he needed 10 minutes. But I don't mind that really, because it really gives other people time to shine, which is evident straight away in this chapter, because as soon as he gets knocked out of Gear 4, then they make the realization that we need 10 minutes. Big Mom begins to attack, and she throws a motherly flame, or great motherly fire attack, using Prometheus onto Luffy, and Zoro intervenes like a good vice captain or right hand man should. Then obviously Kid and Kaido want to get involved. Kid and Killer want to get involved with Kaido, and to open up that opportunity, Law does a counter shock attack to Big Mom, but unfortunately Kaido throws his attack, which is basically a twister. Now, if you really think about all of Kaido's attacks so far, he's pretty much a Pokemon. Now, I know people basically compare him to Kaidous, but if you think about it realistically, he's got a wind cutting kind of attack, which is more or less a hyped up razor leaf. He's got a fire attack, which is basically flamethrower. Now he's got, which you could kind of say it's Twister or Dragon Rage as an attack as well. So it's interesting that they're very similar to Pokemon moves, and you can see the parallel there. And basically, when he does his attack, Zoro gets distracted for a second, and it looks like Kaido has basically eaten Luffy, to which point Zoro does his Black Rope Dragon Twister attack. It's funny because in the scanlation it literally says, I believe it says Kala as in black, and then he has another word which basically means technique or so, in the version of translation that I've read, so it made me laugh a little bit. But yeah, it's the same thing he used on Fishman Island, and this has caused damage to Luffy, and Zoro actually cut, and it stings Kaido, and Kaido even says, okay, so I see it's the blade. So essentially a lot of people are saying, oh yeah, it's just Odin's Ryu and spirit and will that's in the sword. It's more than that, it's a resonation, in my opinion. So obviously Zoro being able to use Ryu, and that having Ryu as a resonation, is able to use both. So I guess once there's that more synergy involved, he'll be able to do that with a more potent attack. But the fact that Kaido's realised this as well, basically he's going to get serious, which we find out by the end of the chapter. Ultimately, in terms of that battle, other than that, not too much more happens. I mean, the Black Twister is kind of the key point here for all the Zoro fanboys. We then kind of also see what's going on everywhere else. In panels, not much speech bubbles, because essentially it's a conversation between the CP0, who are on this island as well, and members of the three-eyed crew that who is in charge of, I believe. So they talk about numbers. We find out the 400 samurai have gone down, 3,000 of Kaido's men have gone down, and then the key point and message is made that that basically the executives have to go down for the new generation to win. So I like that Oda's basically telling you what's coming up, or what has to happen next for there to be something substantial in terms of the good guys winning, so to speak. Also, it's important to bear in mind that they've reminded us again that Orochi is dead, or he has been defeated, but we don't know what's going on really with that. Is he really alive? Could it be one of those techniques because he's got so many heads as an Orochi? We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, the fact that the Order's basically reminding us, oh yeah, remember when his head got chopped off? Yeah, just keep that in the back of your mind. So it's reminding the reader that that's a thing. And we're reminded as well that executives have to go down, and we see panels of Frankie and the Triceratops, Sasaki, who looks like he's using Haki. Confrontation, we see Usopp and Nami, and we see the other Tobiropo, the female one, who's Page One's sister, Ulti. And then we see bits and bats of what's going on. We even see Law's crew as well. So ultimately this is telling you that's kind of going to be the next thing. And the chapter pretty much ends up with like kind of a lineup again. And so Kaido's kind of essentially smoked out. And they're like, oh, what's that? And it's like, well, that must be his hybrid form. And when they said hybrid form, I'm like, yes, finally, the best of everything. So obviously you have your human abilities, and you'll have essentially strengths in that, and you'll have strengths in your Zoan abilities, but the hybrid is the best of both worlds, and that's kind of the ultimate form, and we've not seen that from Kaido, so Kaido's ready to get serious. It's unfortunate that it's happening just about the time when we need 10 minutes for Luffy to basically survive, recover, and get back into the action. So we're going to have to wait and see how that goes. Beyond that though, there's a lot to look forward to. So I'm going to leave the chapter there, the review there. Please, as always, like, comment, share and subscribe. Leave your comments in the section below to continue the discussion. I will post all the relevant links in all the relevant places, especially on Reddit, so feel free to check them out. And I'll see you next time. Peace.